Hey everybody, this week I am responding directly to one of the articles that we read for this week. Specifically, I'm responding to the article by, I'm assuming her last name is pronounced Rhea, but it's titled Education, Popular Literature, and Future Citizenship in Argentina's Billiken Children's Magazine between the dates of 1919 and 1944. This article in particular talks about how this was a research study that was done to check out how this magazine, Billiken, which is a children's magazine that has been published in Argentina for 100 years almost, and specifically kind of tailors their content towards the ideological ideas of the original creator of the magazine, and also how they are struggling in modern day to kind of meet in the middle between that Roman Catholic approach and the idea that children should be molded into like the perfect citizen through hard work and religion, it seems like, and between what's popular for kids today. So overall, it was a really interesting article. And it reminded me a lot of what I read as a kid, which were the Scholastic magazine like highlights. My aunt got me a subscription to them when I was really little. I think primarily for like the craft part of the magazine, because there's a lot of like creative ideas in there for things that you can do. And I was not a creative kid, so I needed that. I really liked like the word puzzles and things like that though, or like the hidden pictures type stuff. But it made me think about that magazine because that's the only thing that we have that's kind of similar to this Billiken magazine that's been in publication for years. And I went to the Scholastic website and they've been making the Scholastic Highlights magazine for 75 years. So we're pretty close. And I just wanted to see like, that's an interesting thought because usually when you pick up like a children's magazine, you don't really think about what the underlying agenda is behind it or what the publisher has intended for that magazine, how they choose to approach things, which is very specific. And the article from Rhea kind of lays out that there are three different views specifically for Billiken magazine that she deems to be contradictory at times, which are the ideological, pedagogical, and commercial agendas found within the product. So I went to the Scholastic website and I looked, and some of the messaging on the website is pretty similar as far as the article talks about how the original creator of the magazine would really tailor his writings to both the kids who wrote into the magazine and the writings within the magazine to be aimed primarily at boys, which is not the case with highlights, but also like centered around being the best that you can be and working hard and being independent, but also good-natured. And so the highlights magazine, if you go to the like for parents section, it has like their mission statement, and it basically says, I have it on a split screen here, so I'm just going to read it really quickly. It says, we believe children can change the world for the better. So kind of the same idea of like this being the best citizen that you can. When children know that they matter and what they think matters, they see the good in themselves and the world. They'll understand that every person has value and is deserving of respect and dignity. They'll learn that kindness is never wasted, and when we work hard and try our best, we show ourselves and others that we can do great things. They'll know that just like the grown-ups around them, none of us ever stops learning and growing. So kind of, I mean, not as like on the nose as Billiken, maybe the messaging was from, the earlier years that it was published, but kind of the same sorts of ideas. And then if you scroll down a little bit on this website, one word that popped out to me in particular was, it says, highlights brand of wholesome fun, which is bolded, is built on the philosophy that children become their best selves when they use their creativity and imagination, develop their reading, thinking, and reasoning skills, and learn to treat others with respect, kindness, and sensitivity. So I really wondered, what do they mean by wholesome fun? That word to me, and maybe this is like my, not to be too serious, but like my trauma association of wholesome fun goes back to like my church experience of what is deemed to be acceptable or okay or appropriate, things like that. I really identify wholesome as being a very intentional word to choose here in this like block of writing that they've chosen to put on their website. So that raised a little bit of a red flag for me, but I couldn't find any other information really just on this like homepage. It does talk about how for each child that has written a letter to them over the last 75 years, they have personally responded, which I thought was cool, but I would love to know exactly how they responded and what ways they responded, what word choice did they choose to respond with, and if it reflects kind of the same ideas here that seemingly Billiken had with their founder. So yeah, that kind of sent me down a wormhole of my childhood reading this article today and just kind of thinking about um like I guess being more thoughtful about the ways that publishing and marketing and things like that really play into the impacts that what we read can have on us in early childhood and how it can kind of shape what we read, how we read it. So that was a fun little walk down memory lane, but also kind of a deep dive into the article. So curious to know if you watched this video, if you guys had similar experiences with other forms of literature, if there were other magazines, books, things like that that were out there that maybe at the time you didn't know had a particular leaning one way or the other, but now as an adult can look back and see, oh, this was handcrafted to make me think a certain way or behave a certain way or interpret the literature a certain way, that kind of stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate it and have a good rest of the night.